This is Kelly at Memory Bound, and this week we have a great technique that you're going to love. It's called puzzle cards. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of this sheet of paper, and then look at the card that I made, where I took the picture, cut it into little squares, and then put it back together again. And if you look close, you'll notice I left one square out and put my greeting there. So this is kind of a fun technique, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Very inspired by this new paper we just got in from Simple Stories, the Simple Vintage Garden District, and it's beautiful, and we're going to make the same type of card with this paper. I plan to use this little butterfly here on the right side, and that's going to be our puzzle. What's tricky is I'm going to use the bottom left corner for our card background. Our card's going to be 5 by 7 because it's a little bit easier to go bigger when you're using this technique. I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece around the butterfly that's 3.5 by 4, and then that's going to be our puzzle. To make it easy, I'm just going to slice 4 inches right down. I know my width is going to be 4 inches, and then I want to go with 3.5 inches for my height. So I can just lay my ruler on my design to get an idea where 3.5 inches is. I have my square that's 3.5 by 4, and I'm going to cut that into 4 equal pieces. Look, I have my puzzle. Now, I'm not kidding when I say that sometimes the hard part is figuring out how your puzzle goes back together. I have also pre-cut 4 coordinating green rectangles that are slightly bigger than my puzzle pieces, and I'm going to adhere all of those together. Puzzle pieces, I have them matted. Now I'm going to get my card ready. I'm using a 5 by 7 card base because it just gives you a little extra space for adding on your fun little puzzle pieces. I promised I'm going to use this section of my paper for the background. I've cut out my piece from the corner of the paper that's 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, so it's going to fit right on the front of my card and give me a little extra border around the edge. I have to tell you that right there would make a beautiful card and just add some verbiage and a ribbon in your set. I laid them out kind of where I want them, and I've die cut this really large thing. I want these to jump out at you a little bit, so I'm putting foam adhesive squares on the backs so they'll just pop up a little bit and add a little dimension. What I would suggest is that you take off the backing off of your foam squares or your tape, kind of place it where you think you want it to be, but don't really press it down until you get them all lined up. You can kind of have a good visual eyeball of where they're going. Now you can always measure if you're the type that needs to measure. And when I'm happy with where they're at, which I think I am, I think they look pretty good, I'm just going to put a little pressure on them. I have this fancy die from Hero Arts that says thanks, and it's a little bigger than what you would expect on a lot of greetings, and that's why I like it. We're going to put that right across the bottom. I attached the thanks to the bottom. I love that great big die cut. And then I added a really pretty cream silk ribbon to the side, and you'll see I've got my puzzle pieces. And an option that's kind of fun that I'll show you on some other cards is leave off one of your puzzle pieces, maybe one that's not quite as significant, and you can put a verbiage right there. So if I wanted to, I could not use my thanks, but I could put the get well soon right there in place of my 4th puzzle piece. Just another fun option. You got to have options when you're at Memory Bound, that's for sure. I took this sheet of paper and we turned it into this card. I'm going to show you a couple other samples. This is a Spring Parade paper from Blue Fern Studios, and look at, we took it and we cut out that corner with the pretty flowers. We turned it into puzzle pieces and we made this beautiful card here. This time we split our puzzle up a little bit. Just a little change. We have another Blue Fern Studio paper called Amber and Apricot, and we made 2 cards with it. We made this one using the image in the bottom left. Then there's the birds up here on the top right hand, and we made a card with those. We took this paper, which is amazing, and we took that rose down on the bottom left corner, and we made our puzzle, and we used 3 pieces, and then we put a thank you greeting. This card's made from the same paper, but we used more of the ephemera because we took the wreath, we glued it onto a piece of the Garden District paper, then we cut it up, and then we added some more ephemera down at the bottom, the Live, Laugh, Love. So this one we went crazy on. Check out the papers you have at home for this technique. Come into Memory Bound and take a look at the beautiful new Garden District papers and Blue Fern papers and come up with some fun little puzzle cards that you can design and send to your friends and family. Have a great crafty week, and we hope to see you soon.